Okay, there we go. All right. I should do an infographic on the top. I could do an infographic on the top next time, but here we go. Create an infographic. So here we go again. So yesterday we talked about the tree of life. We're going to speak on this often. Oh. By the way, DJI headphones or microphones, I recommend 10 out of 10. This is probably the best investment I've made. You take one of these, and I don't use I don't even sell these. I should, because these microphones have been the single best investment in technology. Kia is in the building. So it looked like this. This is the transmitter. You put the transmitter on here and plug it in. Now, I will say it does not work that well on iPhones. The iPhone will flag it as a foreign accessory. Put it right here and then boom, you can hear me from any distance, from anywhere. I like these mics, and it's even more clear when you speak directly into it. That's what I really like about these mics, is the way it sounds when you speak directly into it. Kia is in the building, but you put it on the shirt. It also got a magnet on the back where it's low profile if you want it to be. But the problem for me is I think it muffles my voice, so I don't do it. So here we go. Welcome in on this beautiful Sunday. I only know it's Sunday because last night we went out to eat and a bunch of people was outside. And we was like, why are people outside? We don't live a normal scheduled life, so we don't know what day it is until we go outside and realize people are outside. It was like, it must be the weekend. So the only reason I know it's Sunday is because yesterday we was out eating and a bunch of people was outside. So now I know it's Sunday. Now, typically Sundays are reserved for the Lord. And you see a lot of preachers, when you scroll TikTok, you see a lot of preachers online, which, good people. I'm not a preacher. Thank you, Kia, for the love. I'm not a preacher. I'm a teacher. I'm a channel and a conduit for God's knowledge and intention and words. That's what I am. So I'm going to teach you today rather than preach at you. So I saw somebody online right before I got on. I scroll, I see, and it's people just inspiring and motivating, which is nothing wrong with inspiring and motivating. The only thing about inspiration and motivation, when you get off the live, when you get out of the building, you don't know what the hell to do. And I'm not with that. I want to show you exactly what to do and show you why. I want to show you the why behind the what. That's what I want to show you. The why behind the what. All right. So to recap, understanding what realm we live in and what's really happening. I'm going to explain it in a simpler way. I'm going to try to make it easy for you to understand. Here is God up here, the infinite. Cannot be understood at all. We will never be able to understand God. But God is made up of both positive and negative, meaning masculine and feminine forces. That creates an expression. The expression of God that we feel is feminine. We do not experience God directly. There is no way to experience God. We cannot. Camera doing some hazy things. Let me just put it over here. So we cannot experience God directly. All of God that you experience is experienced through what's called the mother. It's really a trinity. Can't separate them. Okay. Now, If you don't believe in God, does it matter? Yes, it does matter if you don't believe in God. The way it matters is if you understand your thought creates reality. So if you believe in God, a higher power, a higher ideal, your mind becomes a channel for the powers of a higher ideal. If you don't believe in God or know God, then your mind is closed off to higher ideals. So you can't be a channel or a conduit for higher ideals. That is why knowing God or not does matter. That's all I'll say about that. Now, God manifests through, you can say this line here is the line of life and death, beginnings and endings. I wonder why it's doing that. Y'all see this fuzzy and in and out? I don't know why it's doing that. So it manifests through the line of life and death. It's called Deat, but this is a barrier that God manifests through. Okay, why can't I just believe in higher ideals? Why does it have to include God? It doesn't have to include God. So if you are a person who believes in higher ideals, you become a conduit for those higher ideals. Now, here's the reason I say, and I've learned that understanding God is important. Because you can believe in the higher ideal and you can let the higher ideal in, but what ends up happening is your mind can become corrupted with the belief that you are doing it. There's nothing higher. You haven't been influenced by anything prior to coming here. And with that false idea, you believe you are the source of the creation. If you believe you are the source, inevitably it's wrong. And you will reach some point of chaos, some problems, and you won't know why they're happening. And it will be because you just have wrong thinking. And it's not because you're a bad or good person. This is all about accurate thinking or inaccurate thinking, being able to see and not being able to see. That's all it's about. That's one of the things it's about. Now, God manifests past the veil. This is called Deat. It's really like a line of life and death. This is the realm of light. And then it passes through this line of life and death. Very first thing that manifests is, you can call it the light. That's the very first thing that manifests of God is the light, the power and mercy of God. That's what it manifests. That's what manifests first. So this is all that we can experience of God manifest. So God shines light. Now, we do not know God directly, but we do know the light. That is what we are. That's what we're made of. So this is the very first manifestation of God. Okay, it's the light. Now, oh, thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And is it the God of Christian Bible? God of Christian Bible, when you understand God, God does not get restricted to a Bible or a Quran. A Bible is a book. So can we say God can fit in a few words, a few thousand words? Is that possible? Truth is, God runs through everything and is in everything and is in you, the perceiver of it. But can we say, this is God, this description, my limited mental belief, right, of God is the truth? When we think that way, we start to block ourselves off from anything greater, and we start to create problems for ourselves. Could you describe God as a type of source energy or creator? You cannot describe God as a source energy because God is not energy. Energy manifests at a lower realm of activity, and it manifests at the level of mental activity. But God is not energy. God is not energy. Gods are imaginary. That's true. And is false at the same time. How is true? Our imaginings definitely create powers. Am I assuming these things? Short answer is no. The long answer is, if you want to find them out for yourself, you have to take the journey and quest to work with these powers and try to disprove them. Okay. So you say, am I assuming these things? No, but I want to address my man. You said gods are imaginary. When you imagine, you create gods. Now, Hinduism is one of those traditions that explain it the best. There's only one source of power. That is the light. The light takes on many different forms. Those forms can be called forces, energy, intelligences, beings, angels, pathways. You can call them a lot of different things, and traditions across time have called them a lot of different things. But they're all made of the same intelligence. It's the light. They have distinctly different functions, but they're all made of the light. So you could say, yes, gods are imaginary because they work through the images of our mind. And our creative imagination actually creates forces, creates angels or gods that end up having an effect in our world, but only because we created them. So you can say that's true. On the other end, there's a reality of law, of truth that goes beyond what we believe or not. For instance, doesn't matter what we believe about gravity. Gravity exists. In order to defy gravity, we have to apply a higher law called the law of lift. And that that suspends the law of gravity because you're applying a superior law. Now, gravity is suspended and a plane can fly over the ocean and land. So, yes, at one level, there's a law of, gods are imaginary. True. But there's another level of law, when applied, overrides any imaginary thing. This is the realm of truth. You can say truth. Now, what's truth? Can't put it in a box. But there are realities that exist regardless if you believe them or not. So mental science is the study of those laws, meaning how things actually are, so that you can use those laws for whatever it is you want. Now, I recommend using it for higher purpose rather than lower, but that's that. Okay. Somebody says God is everything. Imagination has no power. Okay. So let's say you believe imagination has no power. Yep. Somebody said it. Well, your imagination does have power, regardless if you want it to or not. But if you imagine that your imagination has no power, your imagination has no power because you're exercising the power of imagination to neutralize your power of imagination. So you're using the power of imagination to neutralize your power of imagination. Whereas there's other people who very clearly know imagining creates things. And they use their mind to create things. So the imagination has power for them because they know it. You can't apply a law you're unaware of. If I'm unaware of the law of gravity, the gravity still affects me, but I can't apply it in any unique way if I'm unaware that it exists. Just like the power of thought or the law of consciousness, which means nothing registers or vibrates into reality unless it's through the consciousness of an individual. Nothing can come into the world except by consciousness. That's a law, regardless if you want to believe it or not. So whatever is in your mind becomes active in your vibration, and you create that in your life. And you can see that through your whole life. Your thoughts are your reality. The way you think. Now, if you're unaware, you got to be aware to do that. Somebody says you manifest your own disbelief. Right. Imagination is psychic power. Yes. Somebody said it's true. There's a huge disconnect between the concept of God and the evidence of God. God is not a concept, first of all. Okay. You can conceptualize, but that has nothing to do with God. So our concept of God is just a concept. You have to put your concept down and your way of thinking, these goggles of vision, you have to take them off and put them to the side. And then just be there and observe what's left after you've taken off your vision goggles that make you see things a certain way. Those are concepts. You take off your concept glasses and put them over to the side. There is no way to experience God through a concept. The concept can be a vehicle to take you into the experience of God, like a chariot takes you from one place to another, or a car takes you from one place to another. But the car isn't the destination. So concept, God is not a concept. Somebody asked, does our consciousness exist after death? Will I be aware of existence after death? Most important. This is what I'm going to implore you to do. Okay. I would recommend you explore what it's like during sleep. Do you know you are awake during sleep? If you could lucid dream, you could say, I am awake during sleep. When you die, you exist in the exact same way, at the same level of consciousness you exist when you were alive. You cannot all of a sudden be transferred to some higher dimension as we believe. Yes, you get absorbed back into source, but you have your own thoughts. So the law of thought and the law of mind still apply. The only world you can live in is the one you have imagined. Okay? So after death, there is no death. You cannot die. Consciousness cannot die, or beingness cannot die. Okay? Isn't our consciousness energy, spirit, or God? Energy, we're going to talk about that in a second. We're going to talk about that in a second. I went through near-death experience. I didn't think about my body. Yeah. Exactly. So let's talk about this. So God is here. You cannot perceive God. It's impossible. The only thing of God you can really experience is the feminine receptive aspect that receives the transmission of light That's the mother, but you can never experience the masculine aspect, the father. Why? The father aspect is transcendent. The mother aspect is immanent. Transcendent means beyond our experience. Immanent means in us, as us. That is the mother. The mother is the light, but the light may manifest as power, spiritual power, or a spiritual transmission is ruled by the planet Jupiter, and this is the light. Now, happy new day. Good to see you back. So this light, how does the light manifest in our world? The light actually has to manifest through levels of contraction. So we're going to draw a funnel. So you have light in the upper levels, light in the lower levels, and light that comes to a point and actually manifests. So this is called contraction or restriction. God has to self-restrain itself in order to be made manifest in a way we can experience. So the light manifests this way. It goes through a contraction, or it goes through a funnel. It gets squeezed or restricted. And then it manifests in a way that can be experienced. And it goes through these levels of contraction, meaning being squeezed off or restricted, so that it can become available to those of us who are here in the physical dimension. The unlimited restricts itself. So now, does that mean it actually becomes this small point? No, it just means it hides itself. It hides the light that would burn us to death or burn us up if it was to just run through. This is similar to a light bulb. So a light bulb, it's the 200-watt light bulb, cannot receive 500 watts of electricity because the light bulb would explode. That's the same way when it comes to us in the physical dimension. We can't receive the fullness of light because we have to expand our vessel. So our vessel, the only amount of light we receive here on Earth is the amount of light our vessel can handle. So God manifests as light. This light gets squeezed through a funnel. I'm just going to do it this way. So it's not confusing. The light gets squeezed through a funnel, and then that funnel manifests here. Okay. So this is another level of manifestation. Now, at this point that the light manifests, it's like this middle, the 50-yard line on a football field. Here is the sun. This is that middle point. This is that middle point. And that middle point is really your soul. This is where your soul, or who you really are, exists. So God has to contract itself down into a point. That point is your soul. This is called Tifereth. On this tree, it's actually this point here. It's the sun. Okay? So it contracts into a point. This is the soul. Now, we have one collective soul. Its name is Yeshua. All right? Is one collective soul. The soul's name, our soul's name, is Yeshua. That's actually our soul's name. The only difference between God's name and our name in Hebrew is one letter called Shin. Shin has 3 rungs on it like a flame. So it is the fiery intelligence of the divine in us. And this is what makes us seek God. So if you are on here right now and you feel like you want to seek God, even though it's illogical, even though it doesn't help your career, you don't think it does help your career, even though you feel like it won't help anything you're doing, you feel the fiery intelligence to be drawn to God. I want to know God directly. What's happening is you are being influenced by your soul, our soul. There's only one. We following so far? Now, the next manifestation of our soul, is through our own consciousness. So the fullness of who you are cannot be manifest. I'm happy you're here, y'all. I appreciate the love. Somebody say, what about the Sprite though? So the soul cannot manifest fully into the physical world. It's too bright. And we would get what's called bread of shame if we receive the light without earning it. We actually want to earn our own souls. That's why we came here. We wanted to participate in the revealment of God, the light, in the physical world. But in order to do that, we had to leave the realm of light because it was only light there. How can we reveal light if it's only light? That's why our lower realm, which is the physical realm that we're in right now, was created so that we can reveal the light. How does this happen? This is a beautiful analogy. We got apparently a full moon, or a new moon was yesterday. It's going to be a full moon June 1st. This manifests through the next manifestation, which is the moon. Now, this is your psyche. This is your psyche. So we have one soul. That is our soul. It's Yeshua. But what happens? Yeshua gets split up into multiple different divisions. This is where psyche comes in. You can even say this soul gets split up into 12 different divisions. Somebody guess what the 12 divisions are. Somebody take a guess. Somebody take a guess. Astrology. Exactly. So our soul takes an individual path based on our karma, and we manifest as one of the groups of souls. This is the zodiac. Now that zodiac manifest when we manifest as individuals, it's because the zodiac and the mind, we just call the circle the mind and the 12 the zodiac, it manifests as our psyche. So now this is where we are individualized. Your psyche is the realm, the astral realm. This is the astral realm of the psyche. And this is the next curtain. So you can't see the sun directly. You shouldn't look at the sun directly, but the fullness of the sun is reflected by the moon. This moon is your mind. Now, you can have a full moon, which is a full reflection of the sun, or you can have a new moon where the sun is not visible. Okay? You are in the night. You can't see the sun at night. This is the realm of night. Okay? It's true. So this is your mind. So when you look at the moon, when the moon is half full, you see a half illuminated mind. Half of your soul is shining. When you see a full moon, you can see it as a symbol of the fullness of my soul is shining. And that manifests our physical world. This manifests our physical world. Okay? That we're on. It manifests our physical world. Now, our physical world is purely reflection. It has no light of its own. Our world is just a reflection and a deposit of what's going on above. Does that make sense? Does this make sense? So when it comes to you creating your reality, how do you create your reality? All of creating of your reality, somebody asked, where does energy or where does spirit come in? I saw somebody ask. Spirit is this, the light is the spirit. This is the spirit. Everything is spirit. So that's where the spirit comes in, here. Now, there are gradations of spirit. All of what spirit is contracts itself into a point, which is our soul. There's only one soul. That is Yeshua. We are all Yeshua. We are all Christ consciousness. But why don't we see that in the world? Because it has to be filtered through your own soul group, your own psyche. How do you think? How do we think as a collective? Now, it's two ways to think. Fundamentally, two ways to think. Two energy intelligences or two desires. Okay, here it is. The desire to receive for self alone, or, by the way, the reason that receiving is necessary is because our psyche is designed to receive. We have manifested to channel the God's energy, or the light, you could say. So reception is our nature. We are receptive vehicles. So receiving for the self alone, or desire to receive to share. These are the two motives we can operate on. Now, to receive to share is the reason for harmony in your life. The desire to receive for the self alone is the reason for chaos in your life. And these are the only two choices you have to make. That is your free will. This is your free will. The only time you get to exercise your free will is when you have a situation in your world that frustrates you, upsets you, makes you mad, or tests your ability to be like the creator. Would the creator be needy for attention? No. So if you feel in your world you're not getting enough attention, and you feel the impulse to do something to get attention, whether it's dress a certain way, because we do that, or it's get online and talk a certain way about a certain topic, because we do that. If you are doing that and you reactively just do it, receive your significance, You're operating in a desire to receive for yourself alone. That's desire. Now, if I have the desire to receive attention, let's say I receive attention or I receive significance, I desire that. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with desiring receiving significance. That's not the issue. The issue is when you receive significance, you eat it up like you were so needy, you eat the seed corn. Instead, here's what you should do. I want to receive significance. I want to receive all the significance and attention that I deserve. But I will not receive it for free. I must give if I'm going to be significant. And my focus is going to be on giving. I do not need the significance. You have to reject the significance. Can y'all hear me? Okay, there we go. You have to reject the significance. Okay, can y'all hear me now? Okay, so you have to reject significance. If you're about to receive the award, you're about to receive the money, you're about to receive something, you have to reject your own ego. I don't need it. Deny it. But the second thought is a thought of the creator. Remember what the creator is made of. The light of the creator is made of sharing. This is the quality of the creator. The quality of your soul is receiving. That's the quality of your soul. Your soul simply receives totally from the light. So it's made totally of light. That's all it is. So remember, this is your nature, receiving. The nature of the creator is sharing. So if you want to bring the creator to earth, you have to enact a quality of the creator, which is sharing. But it's a problem. You are designed to receive. So how are you supposed to do that? Here's how. I want significance, but I don't want it for free. I actually deny my need for significance. Once I deny my need for significance, the divine shows me I want to give you significance. And I need to reveal you because you are a blessing to the world. Your gifts are a blessing to the world. And I'm trying to bless my children through your presence. So I need you to show up so that you can get the attention, so I can have the glory, says God. And now you get to say, now you got to do this sincerely. You cannot lie about this. You can't fake it. But you have to say, all right, God, if it means that much to you and your children are going to be blessed by my presence, I'll take the significance. I'll take the spotlight. And then you step into the spotlight because you know your presence is about to awaken other people because God will do it through you. That is the proper way to receive. Does that make sense? Yeah, validation, attention, recognition, to be seen by your man or your woman, be seen, be felt, be understood. All of that is significance. Attention is significance. We all deserve that at the highest level. But remember, if we don't want to create chaos in our lives, we have to deny our instinct to need significance and just take it without thinking about other people. Significance is, no, your purpose is to embody God. Consciousness. That is your purpose right now, as best as you can. That's your real purpose. And it's right now. Not in the future, not in 10 years from now, not tomorrow, not yesterday. Now. Embody God as totally as you can now. That's your purpose. How do you do that is a negative thing has to happen first for you to test yourself to see your reaction. You have to get tempted. You got to get tempted to steal. You got to get tempted to have sex and feel lust. You have to be tempted. How do you know? How do you restrict a desire if you're not tempted, which is the reason we came here. We wanted to participate in the manifestation of light. I'm a Gnostic Christian. You can say I am a Gnostic Christian, not an Orthodox Christian. Gnostic Christians are people who experience the divine directly and operate from direct experience, not from theories. Okay. Is there a specific one who you should share with? The person, yes, 100%. You share with two people. Okay. You share with first God. How do you do that though? God wants to share. But God can't imagine. Let's qualify what sharing means. Okay. Sharing, that's right, gnosis. Somebody said it. That's a good way to spell it. Sharing, imagine I try to share with an old lady who's standing at the corner of the street. And I say, ma'am, I want to take you across the street. I want to pick you up, take you across the street. And she say, no, thank you. I don't need to be taken across the street. You say, and I say, ma'am, it's my pleasure. I'm going to go ahead and take you across the street. And I scoop her up and I walk her across the street and I set her down. And then she goes, I was waiting on the bus on the other side of the street. Now imagine I say that. Did I share with that lady? Yes or no? Hey, baby girl with the ponytail. Did I? No, I didn't share with that lady. That's the qualification of sharing. Okay. That's what most of us think of sharing. I got a product I want to give to the world. People need to hear this. People need my product. Did they ask for it? Is there a demand for it? Are they really asking for your course? If they're not, you cannot share with them because they don't want it, even if you have it. Okay. So y'all get it. So in order to share, there has to be somebody who needs what you have and needs what you're giving. Can you share with people who don't deserve it? Deservingness is really not your place to say. You don't know who deserves what. All you can do is know if they need it and if your gut tells you to give to them. Right? You don't determine who deserves what. I have money. That person over there has 3 kids. They look like they could use it. And I know from a birdie told me they just got laid off. They may need some money. So I don't embarrass them. I put the money in an envelope with a note that says, use it how you see fit and put it in a mailbox. Now, that's a person who needs it and I'm giving it. If I do that, that's giving. That's true sharing. All right. Now, check this out. Now, imagine I walk up to the lady and I say, I got $300 for you here. And she go, no, I don't need it. I don't want it. That's her right. But I say, no, this is not for you. I want to be blessed because I'm giving. So I'm asking you to receive this so that I can be blessed. I want a blessing too. So I'm just doing what God told me to do. I'm doing this for myself. So please accept it. And she says, okay, if it means that much to you, I'll take the money. I appreciate what you're doing. And she gives that person the opportunity to sow a seed. And that's her mindset. She just properly received, not for the self alone, but she just received to share with him. That makes sense. When you receive like this to share, that creates harmony in the world. abundance in your world and others in the world. You create abundance by receiving that way. This is the art of receiving. This is Kabbalah. Kabbalah is this shape that y'all see over here. This is what we teach. This is the Kabbalah. It's actually, the translation is to receive. This is the proper way to receive, by sharing. So in every instant you go into, you have to stop and say, am I doing this because I want it? And if I am, I don't want it. I reject it. I must share if I'm going to receive. So you say, God, show me how to share, or I don't want it. That's your prayer. Show me how to share with this reception, or I don't want it. You deny it. By you denying your lower instincts, you are enacting the way God is. Like attracts like. So now God will come to you. How? God is going to come to you via the way of your mind and psyche and show you in your psyche how to receive by sharing. You'll get an inspiration or insight or clarity and say, this is how it goes. And then you follow your gut instinct. Your gut instinct happens here. You follow your gut instinct and you will be led to the proper way to receive so that you are also given. And given so that person feels like they're sharing. When you give to somebody, me giving to you, for instance, okay? If I give you everything for free, what's the issue with that? You are going to start feeling bread of shame. The more value I give you for free, the more you're going to feel, damn, I want to give something back to him. Why? Because you don't like the feeling, none of us do, of not being like the creator. All you're doing is receiving for yourself when I give. So if I give, I'm going to answer your question. So if I give to you and you don't think, how can I give back to him? You're going to feel away, not me. So when you feel away, then you may say, how do I work one-on-one with you? How do I give you money? How do I work with you? And you may say that unconsciously of the law that's in place. It's called the law of bread of shame. You don't like bread of shame, so you end up wanting to give because this is what you want. This is what you came here for. You say, how can I share? If I'm going to be receiving this, I'm going to be giving him something back. And so the people who do give back, let's say you give to me, you're doing that. I know that when you give money, it's good for you. That's why I'll take money. When I say we got a boot camp, it's free on June 1st, but we got other boot camps you can pay for, or we got one-on-one that you can pay for. I know I'm helping you. You want to give the money. So when you give money to me, I know I'm serving you by you giving money. You feel good about giving money. Only if you feel good about giving money do I want your money, because I'm not wanting the money. I'm wanting to give to you. I need to give to you. And in order to give to you, you must pay because you don't want something for free. Does that make sense? Recognize your neediness and restricted. So Jay say, so accepting the gift is part of the divine. Yes. But if we deny the gifts, is that ego? No. You're not denying the gift. So if somebody gives you a gift, if you receive that gift in your consciousness, you need to understand before you really receive it, you need to understand why this person is giving it, what they're getting by giving it to you, so you can do it consciously. So somebody give you a gift. Now, if somebody give you a gift to manipulate you and make you obligated to them, I don't want the gift. Why? Not because of my desire to receive for itself alone. It's because I'm not sharing if I'm receiving this gift. No, I don't want it. That makes sense. I don't want that. No. And you feel that when some people try to give you gifts and buy you. Some people try to buy you. You know what I'm talking about. They take you on this to this place, that place, dress you up, fly you out, all this stuff, right? Why? You want something from me. No, I don't want it. Why? because I'm not able to even receive this and give something to you. You're just needy. No, that's not a good exchange. But if somebody is giving you something out of the sincerity of their heart, they really want to give it to you, and you know they're about to receive good karma because they've been told to give it to you, you can feel it. Then in that instant when you receive, you say, thank you, but you're really saying, I'm giving to you. And you know it in your gut, in your soul that you're giving to them. You have to feel that. If you feel that, you plant seeds of good karma, which come back to you as abundance and harmony in your world. This is how money is created. This is how a harmonious life is created. This is how joy is created. This is how a soulmate match is created. If you receive for yourself alone, that's how chaos, breakups, violence, domestic violence is created. Because two people are receiving for themselves alone, and that comes back as karma in the world. You have done it in the past, week ago, month ago, day ago. That's how it works. D9, yeah. Exactly, got to be an exchange. It has to be an exchange. It's the intention behind it. There we go. Yes, we have to share God's light. How do we let in light? Specifically, you have to wait until something tempts you. By the way, the light that's manifest is already manifest. Okay, that's manifested, done. If you want to let in more of God's light, you have to be tempted. You have to actually meet a temptation. So it's 3 levels of temptation. You have bodily temptation. That means I want to eat. I want to have sex. That's the temptations. I want to eat. I want to have sex. Those are bodily temptations. This next temptation is mental temptations. I'm tempted to go off of him. I'm tempted to judge him. I'm tempted to tell a story in my mind that creates a victim story of why me. I'm tempted to imagine outrageously and not control my imagination. Jealousy, envy, anger, all of that is mental, reactive mental activity. Restrict that. And then the highest is proactivity, which is I'm reacting to something. It's I'm going to proactively give. For instance, when I go live, I'm proactively giving. I'm not waiting until you pay me to give you my best value. I'm giving you my best value right now. This is the best value I can possibly give you by showing you this, honestly. Now, the deepest value I can give you is over time. If you're with me for a year, people who've been with me for a year, their lives are totally different. They say their lives are totally different. I know why, because you learn the nuances. You learn how the system works. When you start working these principles and you start repeating this knowledge to your mind, you become a magnet and you become a harmonious creator in the world. You just do. So I know if you go deeper with me, it works, but I'm proactive. I'm not waiting until you pay me or waiting until you like the screen or waiting until people show up to give my value. I'm showing up and I'm giving my value proactively. So you have to, now I could resist the proactive activity. I don't have to do it. But to be proactive is to go against my nature of sitting still, being comfortable. I like it the way it is. Oh no, I have to proactively grow. I'm gonna give you another example. I was running my company and making $250,000 a year for myself. And right in that moment, I said the wrong words. I said, I'm comfortable. I think I want to stay at this amount of money. I'm good here. Guess what? Once I said that, was I thinking about desire to receive for myself alone? Or was I trying to receive to share? Which one was I doing? Somebody tell me, which one was I doing? I was trying to receive for myself alone. I was comfortable, so I don't want to move. Guess what happened? The business gets stripped. Boom. I start failing miserably after that. because I didn't want to do anything extra. I was done sharing. I'm done sharing. As soon as you are done sharing, the light gets cut off. Because I'm going to receive bread of shame. If I keep receiving this without sharing, bread of shame kick in. The law says God will not share anything that I am not open to receive. In order to receive, I have to restrict my natural tendency to receive for the self alone. That's how I receive. If I receive by receiving for myself alone, it's not really receiving. I get the light for a second, the light blows, and it gets returned back to my opponent. By the way, we haven't talked about that. It's an opponent who rules this world, who creates chaos in my life. So the light comes to me for a second, but goes right through me to the opponent, and my opponent starts making my life miserable. And that's how it works. So my business crash. If you're enjoying business right now the way it is, beware. Beware if you're comfortable. You better start to change to think about how you can serve in a 10x multiple. Unless you do that, your business will crash. And everything you like about the business will go away. So Maddox says God's light is infinite. So anything in creation. So say make music. How can I share God's light through music? That's actually a good question. If you are doing the music to give God a channel, if you understand what the music is going to do for people when you make it, not that you're making music to please them, because an artist is really not supposed to think about anybody but themselves and how they feel about it. But when you know, by focusing on how I feel about it and making music that is true to me, that act of doing that is going to inspire others to be true to themselves. Then you can be totally selfish in your music, channel it in, and it's going to help them. They're going to resonate with it. That's how you make music to serve God, because all you're doing is cutting off the desire to receive for the self alone. You can say it's the ego, yes. I keep giving because I know that's how I receive. Good. Now, here's another ad. We can get into nuance. I'm giving because I know I'm going to receive. That's a good level. It's going to work. But an even deeper level is I'm giving because I know it's going to benefit them. I don't care if I receive or not. But I am giving to them. Now, I'm going to receive only because God wants to reveal abundance in my life. So when you receive, I know God wants to reveal abundance, and that's what he's doing through me. So I'm going to give God what God wants and allow the abundance in. Yes. And I'm also giving to them. So I'm just like God. I'm receiving nothing and I'm giving everything. So even by receiving, I'm giving. You flip it. That's how you play. That's how you play the mental game. Who's the opponent? It's the ego. Yes. Your opponent is the ego. They call it Satan. But the ego is a real entity. It's impersonal. It doesn't care who you are. It tries to destroy you and stop you from receiving the share. It does not want you to be like the creator. It wants to run you. It wants to run you because it's the game. If you didn't have an opponent to overcome, you would not be playing the game. You asked to participate in a revealing the light, not just to keep sharing for yourself alone, but you wanted to actually receive the share. You wanted to receive the share. So how you do that? You have to come up to temptation. Who's tempting you? Your opponent. Thank God for the opponent, because I wouldn't be able to reveal light if it wasn't for the opponent. Thank God you get tempted and tested. Thank God. Exactly. So when you have expectations, it's okay to have expectations. If I plant corn seeds in the ground, I'm going to receive corn. I expect it. But why am I doing it? You see? If I plant corn seeds, I'm receiving corn. I expect that. Yeah, I'm supposed to expect that. I planted corn seeds to get corn. But why am I doing it? Am I doing it just for my family and to make money off the market? If I'm doing it just to receive for myself alone, I'm going to make the money, but it's going to create chaos in my life. This is the billionaires who are miserable. That's how they get miserable. They are only receiving for themselves alone. Yes, they have billions of dollars because they desire it. But why they're doing it takes the money corrupts their soul. They hate themselves. So take the flip side. You got billionaires who receive billions, but they sincerely believe they are designed by God to receive the billions and distribute it to the world. They believe that. Andrew Carnegie was one of those people. Andrew Carnegie commissioned Napoleon Hill to write this book. It's called Law of Success in 16 Lessons. And all of our libraries exist because Andrew Carnegie, he was the richest man in the world. He spent the first half of his life accumulating money, the last half of his life giving it away. That was his plan. He desired to receive so he could share with the world. That was his whole intent. So that's a different mentality than wanting to receive for myself alone only. So that's how it works. You see? When you operate from a knowing, you will become that. So act like you know who you are. Appreciate exactly. Yeah. So this is how it works. By the way, we got our boot camp on June 1st. What is it going to teach you? It's going to teach you, by the way, this is the most beautiful part. Your astrology sign and your matrix of astrology. If you get an astrology reading from us, here's what it does. It shows me where you have the desire to receive for the self alone. Stronger than other places. Meaning, it shows me where chaos is coming into your life. Yours specifically. Thank you, Kiaya. And it also, I can see by your chart exactly where your correction is. It's called a tikkun. Based on your astrology chart. You have a particular psychological makeup based on your karma. Each one of you has a particular area you're unaware of that you need to restrict. But you don't know you need to restrict. But you do need to restrict. If you don't restrict, that will continue creating chaos in your life and nothing you do will work. The thing you want the most. If that's a soulmate relationship you want the most, you'll never get it. If that's money you want the most, you'll never get it. If that's health, you'll never get it. If you want to connect with God and you don't have a way to receive, to share, and you continue to participate in your astrological blockings, you cannot connect with God. You have to make the correction first. So everything you want is really hinging on you correcting what's in your astrology chart. Your astrology chart is not made to predict the future. Your astrology chart is made to show you where your blocks are so you can intentionally remove them. You need to overcome your chart, not succumb to it. That's the point. So when you overcome your chart, it changes everything. So that's what we do. If you want that, if you want a reading from me, message me down here. Just put yes in the chat and message me down here. And we got a boot camp coming up on June 1st. That's free. Here's what I recommend. If you come into June 1st, the boot camp, and you know exactly what you need to correct, you can use the information on June 1st to make these corrections. And your life will improve in a particular way you're designed to improve. What's the astrology chart for chaos? It's multiple different things. It's multiple different things. Like it's literally thousands of things. I go over a few. One of the main points is the North Node, South Node point. Another point is, where is your Saturn? Another point is, where is your Lilith? Another point is, what's your ascendant and what's your 8th and 12th house? Those are other points. Another point is, how strong or weak are your house or your planets in each house? How strong or weak are your different aspects in your life? And what does it cause you to do? And what do you need to correct it? It's multiple different points within a chart that when I look at it, I see where your problems are. I see where your habitual desire to receive for the self alone, which is on either the feminine side, that's your tendency to laziness and wanting something for nothing, or on the masculine side, your tendency to want to over or domineer others, win over others, and dominate and control and impulsively win. You need it. So either one is going to create chaos in your life. So you can create a harmony. This is the place of harmony where you connect these desires to the soul. The soul shines through your psyche into the world purely. So we want to clear out the cocoon so that the light can shine through into your world. That's what we want. Okay. Anybody got any questions before I get off here? This was a good one. By the way, where does this come from? It come from me being in meditation on these very things. I'm gonna be in meditation and in the spiritual sustenance and essence of this for hours and days. And I come on here and talk for an hour. Okay. I talk for an hour. I can't give you all that I got in an hour. I'm hours in meditation, study, contemplation. Yeah, if you want something, here's what you want is contingent upon the light. The light is what you want, meaning this is your soulmate, this is your money, and this is everything. So what you really want is to let the light in. In order to let the light in without disobeying the law of sharing and receiving, you have to reject your desire to receive for the self alone, because that's not like the light. So you have to figure out a way to overcome yourself. And if you overcome yourself and your bad habits, then the thing you want will come in. It's very simple. It's like regular stuff. So if you do not figure out a way to overcome your desire to receive by receiving something for nothing, or being so ambitious that you don't care about what people think, then you will never get the soulmate. You will never get the money. You will never get the health. You can't, because you're too needy. And if you're needy, you receive for the self alone, and that light is temporary. It goes back to your opponent, and your opponent uses it to create more ego. So more fear, more anxiety, more stress, more money problems, more relationship problems, more all the problems you don't want. That's how the problems happen in the first place. You keep receiving things for free. Okay. What about if you want a certain thing? Oh, tell us about frequency and vibration in connection to this. Good. Everything is energy vibrating at a frequency. So energy actually starts here. Above that, these are, you can say, emanations. This is a being. This is who you are. But the energy we talk about using in the universe only starts in the astral realm. This is the astral realm. The astral realm is a realm, has 3 layers. You have lower dimension, middle, and then high. The astral realm is like the matrix that physical things manifest from. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say in the astral realm, I'm a millionaire, but in the physical world, I only make 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 a year. Let's say that's the reality. Well, the astral realm, if I hold that picture, in the astral realm, I stay here as a millionaire, I really am a millionaire in the astral realm, then the physical realm starts to manipulate and change itself to reveal that I'm a millionaire. And that means I'm going to do stuff, and stuff is going to come to me way easier. People are going to call me lucky. It's going to seem so easy and free because in the astral realm, I have changed who I am. I've reorganized my light body to be in a new way. So the astral realm is the substratum or the matrix that dictates what the world gives you. So if you're getting something over and over and over again, the problem is you are that in your psyche. That's who you are in the astral realm or in your psyche. That's who you are in your mind to yourself. That's who you feel yourself to be. That's who you think yourself to be. You think like that other person and you feel like that other person who does not have what they want. So of course, the world has to contort itself to reveal that. If you want to be in a boot camp, message me down here. I'm going to put you in a freedom chat. It's in Telegram. And from there, I will announce what to do. We're going to put together a series of videos that's going to prepare you for June 1st. Because I don't want to cover that stuff on June 1st. I'm going to cover the fundamentals and basics that you need to know in order to get the most out of June 1st. So I'm going to create that. That's going to be posted in the freedom chat. So in the next couple days, actually, because that start on June 1st, I'm going to do it probably over the next week. We're going to make videos and be posting them in the freedom chat so you can get prepared for June 1st. All right. So in order to do that, message me down here. It's a yellow button. It should be a yellow button, yellow message button. And I'm anticipating a lot of people coming to this, but You know, that's up to God. Whoever comes is supposed to be there. Okay. Any other questions? By the way, I am posting that one from yesterday, and I will post this one in the vault. We will be posting these in the vault. I just got to sit and download them. And Kia, you got to tell me which one in the vault you wanted. And we need to have a conversation. I think we can have that conversation today because I've got a pretty open day. If y'all work with me one-on-one, we go over your specifics. If you work up with us in our groups, you get access to boot camps, which is crazy. Can you speak about downloads? Downloads are the one regarding action and the law of success. Which one? Let me know. Say that again. Downloads. What is a download? A download comes from Yeshua, which is really the word of God, into the psyche. So that is what a download is. So Yeshua is split up into two parts. God speaks to you directly. That's called direct prophecy. And then, that was the one. Okay, action and law of success. Got you. So one is it's called the greater prophet, and the other one is a lesser prophet. That is Yeshua. How does that come to you? It either comes to, God will message you directly from a sense of knowing, or it will give you messages through people, books, people like live videos, books, people, circumstances, omens, and things like that, dreams. That's the indirect way of communicating to you. So a download is just Yeshua, which is who you really are, manifesting itself as a direct word to your psyche. That's a download. Okay, cool. Cool. I'm gonna post those. So I got 3 of these to post. How can someone outwit? The algorithm is a manufactured version. Yeah, it's funny. The algorithm, everything we create in our world is a reflection of our inner world. It's a reflection of what's going on inside. And that's in the astral world. By the way, when you think thoughts, those thoughts give way to forces. Now, Yeshua, who we really are, is our ultimate soul. But that soul manifests, we were manifesting the will of God. What is the will? The will is free choice. How can you have free choice if there is no choice? So from this point where there's no choice, you are the light. You don't have a choice on that. You have to manifest the world of choice. This is where it's split off. This is where angels, demons, negative, positive happen. So you have a choice in what you think, meaning you have a choice in what forces you let into the world to run amok. You can let in demons or angels. That is your choice based on how you think. If you think for yourself alone, you actually let in demons. Now, if you want to take it to that level, when you want to receive for the self alone and you don't correct these things in your astrology chart, you accidentally connect with demons. And that's the reason that you get blocked and you feel cursed. You are cursed. You are blocked by a demon of your own desire to receive for the self alone that you're unaware of. You have to switch and make the correction if you're going to let in the forces and angels that defeat those spiritual demons. You are fighting a spiritual war at all times. And you have to consciously create this because this happens automatically. It's very difficult. You can't get out of the trap of your own thoughts or the demons that you let in from your own thoughts. You have to close that door by thinking different thoughts and thinking a different way. That is the reason we go over this in the first place. When we start talking about the Kabbalah in this way, we start talking about higher realms that come to the lower realms and how to connect with your soul, which connects with the divine hidden spot in your hidden soul. When we talk about this and how to connect with that through meditation, through service and devotion to the divine, through action. When we talk about that, what we're trying to do is cut the demonic forces of judgment and restriction from manifesting through your life. That's what we're trying to do. Yes, you got to renew your mind daily. So you are letting in demons accidentally when you're not paying attention. When you are just When you are listening to your physical urges, and that's all you're listening to, you are letting in demons into the world. That's why in the Bible it say a person who lazy is just as bad as a person who tears something down. You are letting in demonic forces that destroy. That's why. You're like, I'm not doing anything. That's the problem. You're letting in demons by not doing anything. I don't have anything to do with that. It's demons that come through that exact portal. That's the issue. And they start to control you. Cults come from an overbalance of this, which is victory. Victory is just too much energy and magnetism without empathy for others. So it's a bunch of energy and magnetism that's being used in service to the physical person. That's where cults come from. It comes from an overuse of charisma and energy and magnetism in service of the self, the lower self. That's where that comes from. Cults get created from that. And they know how to manipulate. They know how to manipulate using the mind. So they do know things, but it's in service of the lower self. That's where that comes from. And they manipulate people who are not in attunement with their real self. Because if you were in attunement with your real self and you were restricting your desires to receive for yourself alone, you would be made aware before you went into that. And you always made aware. Your gut tells you something is off. You don't listen to your gut. You listen to your mind, which is your desire to receive for the self alone. And then that's when you get brought into cults, or you get trained from that from a very young age. And your mind is just conditioned. That's this realm. Your psyche is just conditioned to follow that same path. Why did you get born into that situation? It's because of the karma you had last lifetime. Mm-hmm. Same place you did. All right, I'm hopping off here. I love y'all. Y'all have a beautiful day. I'll talk to you soon. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Look, we've been here. Come on. Stay here.